everybody! Welcome to the stream. I hope you're having a relaxing Sunday. We're here to play some Roots of Pacha. I have the lovely Lady Rain with me. So say hi, Rain. Slap me moto. No, why? What did you do? What did you do now? I don't even know. Slaps turtle.
Oh god.
But yeah, we're gonna play some Pacha and just kind of hang out tonight. Welcome, and thank you for lurking and listening and being here. Let's see. What have you done? What have you started to Rain? Let's see.
It was all you. You slapped him first.
Multiplayer. Oh, maybe I have to do things and stuff real quick. If I have to do codes or something.
Yeah.
After it loads. Load game. Load game. Okay. Okay.
The slowness hasn't changed.
Yeah, hold on. Let me whisper you the code here. It is. There you go. Waiting on others to hit start. Rando! Hi! There we go.
Oh, that's
Syncing.
right, I have a coconut on my head.
Syncing players. You can raise. Oh, you can see it on the side thing. That's quite good. How are you? New smoke signals. Open a journal to learn more. Okay, I'm guessing journal is J. Ah, yes, one thing right. It's been so long since I played this game. Okay.
Oh, that's right. I forgot I have a.
Thank you.
A little mammoth.
For being part of the pack. What is that? Fur. Okay. In your kitchen and was hoping you would help. Oh. She had a happy accident in the kitchen and was hoping you could help. Okay. Next. You can now release animals to the wild or send them to Rob. He has offered to butcher any animals you raise for me. Oh my god. Gonna butcher my animals? No, I'm gonna release them. Reese thinks she can keep the field watered. What? Talk to Reese? She can water my field? Few idea. Talk. Okay, if she can water the field for us, then that would be great. Okay.
Sorry, where's Dari? Oh, I'm not too far. Okay.
Apparently I'm in my own house. Okay, so I just pull up the map, right? Is that is that Reese with the hair, or is that you? That's you with the coconut head, I bet.
Yeah.
No. There's Rain. Okay.
Found any rain? Okay.
Which one's Reese? I don't even know.
Reese is down here.
Alright, I'm gonna go talk to Reese then. So I can see what she has to say. Is that Reese? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's you too.
Yeah.
Talk. I've crafted so many decorations. Let me know if you'd like to what I've made. Oh, I thought this was she's the artist too? Yeah. Exchange, dance, idea. I discovered one of my pots was leaking and almost scrapped it. But then I thought, what if I could get it to leak on purpose and water the plants? The only problem is the water drains too fast right now. I just need some materials to try out a few things. Oh, so she can like make slow drainage things for them. That's cool. Any fur, any plant fiber. Looks like I already have those on me. Perfect. Sweet. I already had them in my pockets. I'll have leaky pots before leaky pots before we know it. What is she planning to grow? I guess anything we want her to grow, you know?
Yeah.
Because we grow the garden, we plant the stuff, and she's gonna water
we've got
it.
A huge garden because apparently we hate ourselves.
Yeah. Let me go look at this huge garden that makes us hate ourselves. Oh, there's some tomatoes. Tomato seeds. What is that? What is that? Oh, that's our baby, one of our babies.
Oh yeah.
Would you like to change your mount to your current mount? We'll go back to the shed. Okay, yeah, because I don't know where my mount is, but I'm gonna ride this one over there. Oh, there they are. Oh, he's working. Oh, I think we were building another shed so we could have more animals.
Oh yeah.
I'm guessing our garden's near the water, of course, because that would make sense somewhere.
No. I'm not that.
No?
I'm watering it right now.
I'm just trying to find it. Where'd I leave my garden at? That's a silly question. That's so cool. Ooh, what is this? Talk. View seeds. Dance view seeds. Well, you can buy seeds. I forgot that. Not that we ever usually have to buy seeds.
Oh, yeah, I
The
guess
baby?
it is somewhat near the water.
Aww. Okay. There's water. Let's go down here. There's a bridge. I don't think it's this far down.
No,
Maybe it's north.
it is north.
There it is! I found the garden!
Yeah, they watered almost all of it out.
Why do we have so many plants?
Because we had 3 of us working on this.
We did, didn't we? And Momo likes to plant. And then I gotta remember how to... So that's that. And... 2 switches my thing. And I can water. Oh, my watering thing's empty. Would figure.
We have a little thing over here.
Oh, that's right. We have a whale now, don't we? But yeah, how are you doing, Rando? How was your Sunday afternoon? Are you relaxing? How about you, Turtle? How goes it? Oh, you can make them return home now. If you want your animals to go back home without you, you can say return home. It'd be like, not ready. Be like, come back, you crazy little...
I was wondering why that was being all wonky. There's different qualities.
Different qualities of what? Water or fertilizer?
No, the plant.
New way to grind grains and find other foods. So can we do more than one idea at a time?
Oh yeah.
Yes.
I have Dari going.
Any grain. So we need grains. We need 4 of those. I don't even know how we get those. I'm guessing we have to grind wheat.
Oh, I have some. Don't worry. And then we needed stone too.
Was this our house? Yeah. This is our house, I think.
We just have to contribute the grain, right?
No, you gotta hand it to them.
Shit. Okay.
You gotta find them and hand it to them with the other ingredients they need. They need grain and stone. Yeah. 75 stone and grain. I have the stone if you want to put the... It says I have 75 stones. So we got the stuff together. If we get to a chest.
Yeah.
Tank! Welcome, Tank.
Little thing. Put it in the black chest.
Okay. Black chest.
Oh. I only need... There's a shit ton of stone in here, actually.
Well, you want to do that idea? Since I did the other one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go take the idea. Well, Reese is already working on the thing.
Oh yeah, no, yeah. But I mean, you can go turn in the stuff for that one, I think.
Yep.
That's the one in the kitchen where she's like, happy accident. And I'm like, what the hell? I ain't going in there.
Oh, shit. It's a mortar and pestle.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I was like,
So
I'm
we
not
can
going in
upgrade.
there. She doesn't know what those words mean to gamers. I'm sure the developers do. But she doesn't. Why am I? Can't know. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna put these greens back.
Lover? Pet. Doesn't seem to trust us enough. Aww. I talked to a doggo. Look.
Doggo.
The doggo. Speaking
dog.
soft and carrying a big stick. Waves hello. Yes. Hello. So yeah, I've been this way today. Oh, I forgot about this here. What is this? I forgot. Oh, is this where we went racing and stuff? Pink shell. I don't remember what we do with shells. Do we pick up sticks? I don't even know. I think we chop down trees for wood, if I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Need my axe, though.
You remember how we fished?
You gotta go stand in the water. Other than that, I don't remember.
I love that. Oh, it's getting dark.
Kelsey's. Another shell. Okay. I'm going. It's getting dark and I can't see where I'm at. Oh, that's right, we have a torch. I can see.
Oh, we do, don't we?
Yeah. And now I can see my way back home. Oh, I found people camping. Can I stay with you guys? Because I'm lost. I've got myself lost already.
Oh my gosh.
There you go. They told me no. Find your own tent. It was a really, really tiny tent, and there was 3 of them. Ooh, what is this? To do that. Oh, there you are, buddy. Oh. My ride yelled at me because he saw me. He's like, over here. I'm like, okay.
I forgot I named my mammoth Mama. Oh, it just gave me a little kiss. Oh.
Aww. I don't remember if this is my house or what house. I think this is my house.
No.
Oh.
No. Oh,
Do you want
it might be there.
to save and go to sleep? Save at the current time.
Did you go to the right of mine?
Save and go to sleep?
Yeah.
Wake up.
Oh yeah.
Rain
I'm
is-
not
oh.
sleeping.
Rain's not sleeping.
You're in my bed. Bitch.
Apparently I'm in your house.
Yes.
I didn't know. How do you know whose house is whose?
I had mine like right up above my little mammoth.
Do I need to move? Or do
Oh
I
wait,
really?
maybe that is your bed, because I can't get into this one. Wait, where is my house?
Did you build a house yet?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, turtle.
Pretty sure you're in. I'm not all the way up there.
Well, we have a shared house up top near the garden, but
Well, yeah, but there's.
I thought we had built individual houses, but I don't know. It could be your house. You're gonna pass out though.
Okay, I got it.
We'll figure out whose house is whose in the morning. Or did you find yours in particular?
I don't know, actually. I found that I could sleep in it, so maybe it is mine?
Yeah, maybe. I wonder if you can only sleep in your own house.
Maybe it is.
I was pretty sure this was the one I woke up in, so that's why I was like...
Interesting. Yeah, I think this is my house. I didn't realize mine was all the way up top.
Mine's right near the animals, I guess.
Okay. Ada has an idea
Raising
about
Tink. About what?
poop.
Filled soil, okay.
Where's Ada at?
Talk to Ada.
Okay. Get her. I think I remember why I
Probably
named my
finished
little
building a
mammoth
small
Mama.
shed.
Okay, so I guess we need poop.
The thing we probably don't say, we need poop, feathers, any harvest, and horns.
And horns, which I think I have a couple horns in my box. Or in your box, I should say. There is a box next to the animals with horns in it. I have an ostrich feather.
I can't get over your head. Oh, aren't we supposed to like love on the animals in junk all the time? I forgot about that.
Oh, shit, we need 2 feathers. God damn it. Oh, look at the bunny! I forgot about the bunny.
Hi, Shane. Thank you for the lurk. Yeah, does he follow us around? I forget.
That one's yours. Thumper's yours.
How do I get
you
the
can
bunny
have him
to
follow you?
forget? Pet. Follow. There we go.
I forgot that we have one of our Ibexes is named Satan. This one's name is Satan.
And then this is the newly built shed over here.
Oh, yeah.
So we can go get like ostriches and other animals. We don't have yet. How do I see their names again? I forget. Were we both on it?
Yeah, you can ride along with them.
We can ride on the same animal now?
Yeah.
I didn't even realize you were riding with me.
Yeah, I was expecting it as like, oh.
Let's see.
Okay. Where did Mama go though? Where's my fucking pet mammoth?
Inspect. Meh. Sounds like something I would do. That's your clothes.
So yeah.
So the bunny disappears while I'm on the animal. Yeah. Inventory full. I can't pick that up. Oh.
Oh, here. That sounds great.
I was gonna pick up the shell. Yeah. Now I'm wondering what I should contribute. I need to go see what I got in my inventory and contribute some stuff.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I remember now.
I just petted another doggo. I think my bunny is jealous.
I remember how to catch the fish.
Oh, good. Glad one of us does.
You have to, like, go in the water and left click. And then you wait for them to pop out.
Oh, that's because we only have one row of supplies yet.
Mm-hmm.
We need to fix that.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you can't donate plant fiber anymore.
I didn't think you could.
Oh. I'm probably getting that mixed up with Stardew.
Mm-hmm.
I'm keeping all the food, wood, and stone. I'm getting rid of the shells for now. And then this flour. If I find poop, I'll save it, since I know you need poop. Ray needs poop. You heard it here. I feel like the farm's bigger. Just me.
I think it's the same size. This is really big. Yay, I caught a big fishy.
That's cool.
Alright, I'm gonna go smoke our fish.
Is there a way to quickly move things over?
I think you can, like, click over them and
transfer match. Okay, you hit Alt and transfer match. From left. Why is the potato not a match?
Because it's a different type of potato.
Really? It looks exactly the same.
No, look at the little dot next to what's over there.
Oh, the black dot.
Uh-huh.
Good quality. Oh. Interesting. I remember we had wild and regular, but now we've got good quality and better quality, so it's like star fruit, basically.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of burdock root? Fur.
At some point I would like to,
do you have something with fur in it? Oh, the fur would go down near the animals, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Where did that go? I just picked up that and it's gone. I don't understand. Maybe I got seeds. Open. Oh, there's horns in here. Need those.
Oh yeah, I already had some. I already grabbed them.
So if you alt, you can also sort by name.
There's Mama.
Or by count. Or
Trust me enough.
Can I whistle? I tried whistling to see if my pet would come to me. It didn't work. My bunny's following me, but you know, that didn't work. Alright, we're gonna go look at. Actually, I think I was at the right place.
Yeah, I feel like the bunny is really easy to have follow you.
Roy, are we going to Starbucks? Need anything from there? Yes, please! I want some Starbucks.
Bring me some Starbies, please.
I don't know. You pick. You pick and tell me back what you bring back. It's probably already gone. I just say you pick. No! Something you would actually drink. You're not even gonna drink that. I know you. A cup of water? No, something sweet. Yeah. What did I want to make? So we can make a milker, a shear blade, water bucket. How do you expand your bag, though?
I don't know yet. Look, I'm just over here catching fish. Because that's what I'm good at in, like, every game.
Okay, so a large water bucket holds more water than your skin, and it's only 20 wood. That's super easy. And the shears. Collect wool with shears and a milk thing for the milk. I'm wondering, I'm thinking though you have to keep the tool on you at all times though, versus like drop it off in a bucket for everybody to use, which would be great.
Oh, well, yeah, so you already have your tool on you all the time, and it doesn't take up any room.
Oh, it's hardwood. There's a difference. I forgot. I don't remember where we get
hardwood yet.
Okay. So black coffee with 1 sugar pack. No! Taps your shell. Dun, 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 dun. No, I don't. What are you getting? Tell me. What are you getting? I want the same thing you get. Same thing you get. That way I can, be sure it's delicious.
I'm spending all night catching fish.
I was gonna be good tomorrow and, like, you know, eat healthy, but then I saw that, Dr. Pepper float, and now I think we're going on a mission. Oh, double chocolatey chip frap. That sounds yummy. So is it like a frappuccino
like
with twice the amount of chocolate chips?
That sounds like it's the cookie crumble mocha or whatever. That's what Dalton gets every time.
Cookie crumble mocha. But that would be cookies, not chocolate chips. Because I used to like the...
That's all it is.
I used to like the Java chip when they had that. That might be it.
Yeah.
And remember when McDonald's had the chocolate chip one with the chocolate pieces too? Oh my gosh. And then they decided to not make the good stuff anymore.
I'm gonna go contribute this little fish.
I should go to bed, probably. Let's see, I can order something. At least help with that a little bit for a few minutes. We just have so many plants. I'll use them with stamina and then sleep near the garden. Oh, out of water already? I swear I filled this thing up. Oh, I forgot I don't have to go all the way to the garden. All the way to the water. Yeah, and it's the least sugary frappuccino, right? I like the idea of least sugary, to be honest. I usually get mine with less sugar, whatever I get. Like, less servings of syrup.
I get the white chocolate frappuccino. And I get either coffee nut or hazelnut, depending on my mood, and if the store actually has it. Some stores don't have coffee nut.
Mm.
It's gonna
Good
contribute
prosperity.
quite a bit.
Mm-hmm. You did a lot.
Mm. I was fishing.
I did 3 things, I think. The rest was you, so.
Yeah.
Oh, and you smoked them first too, didn't you? Nice.
Yeah, the chest is full of unsmoked fish right now. We need another fish smoker.
Ooh, what is that? Beans? Tomatoes? Don't know what that is. That's not ready. And I hope she hurries up with her idea. Oh, actually, I should check that. Oh, she is finished. I can go get it.
Oh, Reese?
Oh, the mortar and pestle is finished. You can go get that one. Yeah.
I'm almost to her.
Reese is finished too. You on map. Okay, so I gotta go south.
Diary's all the way over here. Diary. I have to be all the way up here. Heck yeah. And pestle's done.
Come on, buddy.
I'll go talk to her.
No! Let me do one.
Do it? Okay.
I'm the streamer!
I guess. I was trying to save you some help. Well, alright.
No, I just like showing at least some of the things that we do in the game.
Right?
I don't have to show them all, but some of them was cool to show. I was like, I just like looked her up, look where she was at, and there's like 3 of them to collect, so. Now I've done lost her again, though. Pretty sure I'm lost again. Oh, there it is.
You're about to pass her.
If you need another one, I'd be happy to exchange for more. Sweet. So... exchange... double pot in the air. Double pot air dark. Double pot age. You can get hanging pots too. Exchange.
Ooh. Okay,
What does that
so the
do?
mortar and pestle, if you use any grain, you get flour. Milk, you get butter. Egg, you get mayo. A legume, so you know your beans, you get plant meat. And any animal meat, you get lard.
Stone, stools. She makes furniture too. She makes candles for your cave.
Oh, I just realized what this one was.
Alright, I'm gonna go put this one down and see how it works. And then we'll go from there. I do want to know how to expand my bag. I may have to look that up.
Alright, so I realized that the yellow box is for medicine.
Needs an empty tile. So we have no hidden empty The what? The metal one's for medicine?
Yellow. Yellow is medicine.
Oh, by empty tile, I think it means the ground can't be dug up too. Maybe? I don't remember how to do that though. We don't have a hoe.
It's your hand axe. Your little flint hand axe thing.
Oh, okay. There it is. And then what is... I wonder what the radius is. I guess we'll find out.
Neat.
And... I'm just gonna plant stuff on all sides of it and see what the radius is, because I don't know.
Wait. Why am I...
And then we have to see if we can get more. But I don't know how to do that either. It said something about exchanging stuff, and I'm like, I don't want to exchange anything.
Excuse me. Don't know how to use this. Oh, I wonder if I have to put it inside. I'm gonna put it inside my house. See if that makes...
And what is it? The mortar and pestle?
The mortar and pestle, yeah.
Yeah, it says kitchen, so probably. I wonder if we actually have to have a kitchen too. Oh, wild punkamuka. Punkamuka. Or however you say that. I want it. I want it. The polecatch. Please. Oh.
Alright, so can't place it in our grandparents. So we do need a kitchen, which is really annoying.
So we can't use... Oh, can we go to the other kitchen and use it? When it's already built?
I wonder.
Like, it's like a tool that you keep in your pocket and you can go use it. Or I bet we have to expand our house, though.
We have to
somebody.
expand our house. It won't
That's
let
so
us place
dumb.
it at other places.
I bet we got the idea because we have a house.
Yeah. Now we have to expand it. Ugh.
It's a lot of work. We're just small-time farmers. We're not ready to do that yet. Yay! We both caught it, Rain!
Yay! God.
So was it an area we have to unlock to get the hardwood? I forget.
I don't know.
Or was
I
it a
think we
certain
need-
tool?
It's a certain tool, I'm pretty
But
sure.
I don't think it's unlocked yet, yeah. I'm gonna water you.
Okay.
It won't let me.
Uh-huh.
It wouldn't let me water you. I tried. Six, Nico, welcome Six. Just for that,
Don't mind me. Just drying some tomatoes.
I'll put on my cute little rainbow ears. Thank you for the Nico niece. I hope you're doing good this evening. Actually, I probably have to water these today, and it probably waters tomorrow.
What is this?
That's the plant pot, the watering sprinkler, basically.
Oh.
So we'll find out what area it waters in the morning. Like, what its radius is. Oh, you have to put water in it? Oh my god. I didn't know that.
I don't know, I just started clicking.
Right. I put down the sprinkler and I'm gonna wonder why it started. You ready for bed? Aww. Long day tomorrow, I bet. I hope you're feeling better though. I know you've been sick and all kinds of stuff. Me too, honestly. Go to sleep, guys. Go to sleep. Get some rest if you need it. I feel like such a blonde now. I did not realize you had to do that.
It does make sense though, and I've seen people do something like that before on TikTok actually. Taking your terracotta pots and like fill them with water and stuff. And
see, I haven't watched any gameplay of this, so that's why I'm so in the dark. I just haven't been watching people.
But I've seen people do it on like TikTok. Just like IRL people do it for their gardens.
Right. And then. Alright.
A little bit
you have to end now. No! I'm feeling better. Telework day tomorrow. Good. At least you get to stay home. I don't want to end now. Do you have this game, artist? You did show up. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Oh boy. See, I think it's Rose that has the game, but she hasn't joined us yet. Doubtful. I don't know what the video game is anymore. Oh, I feel so bad. You haven't had time to play in forever.
Alright, I have transferred those. I'm going to bed.
So say Rain is not sleeping, so I don't have to sleep. Don't really miss it. Sometimes it's good to have a break from games. Especially when you got so many other things going on. That's why I don't play as much lately. I only play when I stream pretty much. Unless it's like a mobile game and then I can play while, you know, waiting on something else.
Yeah.
But all the things. I wish I had more time for games, but I really don't. I should be working like every day. Smell is good. Okay. Noak wants to try processing food in a new way. Man, these people are just at it with their ideas.
Well, we keep giving them things, so...
Mari and Dari put a new clothesline by the river? What do you do with a clothesline? Oh.
They're doing laundry.
Interesting. I don't think I've been up there. There goes Rain immediately to go check it out.
Yeah, gotta go check out the thing.
I just want to teleport over there to check it out.
It's interesting. No, I didn't want to dance, but okay. Oh, there's nothing for us to do. It's just they're doing laundry.
The bunny is sleeping. Bunny.
It is raining, so we don't have to water anything. So now we can't even tell what's watered.
Follow. Oh yeah, so now we have to wait another day. That's fair, I guess. Yeah. Made my bunny come out in the rain. Poor bunny. Plant knowledge. Garlic knowledge has increased to 2.
Yeah, I just harvested some. Oh, and our beans. Beans!
Yes. Oh, that's the other house that doesn't have the animals on it. I was like, where are the animals? There they are. I come to pet you. Love on you and tell you hi. And then give you goodies. Can I feed them? I don't remember. Oh, I guess you can't feed them anymore. I thought you could. Thought you could feed them. But I guess not. Not after your friends. Weird. My nose. My nose. I forgot nobody comes outside when it's raining, it seems.
Yeah.
I'm so scared I'm gonna accidentally hit the return home. Like when I click on the animal, it's like I'm gonna hit return home and tell it to leave. And it'll be like, no! It's my ride.
So, we need... How do we get poop?
Oh, there's the clothesline. He put the clothesline in the rain. Usually you just see it laying around on the ground.
Oh. Apparently
You didn't
we
know?
had poop already.
Oh boy.
Alright, I'm going to Ada. I have the things.
Okay.
Where is Ada? Ugh. In here. Everyone's in here.
Mm-hmm. I don't know where though. They're hiding. It's a lie.
I thought she was in. Oh, she's in the other one.
One more over.
Oh, wait.
This is the kitchen, right?
Probably.
Yeah.
I think your thing just produced milk. And it disappeared.
Any water
she is.
animals? I need 3 fish. I need 3 fish for the next idea. Like living fish, not smoked.
Oh, you need how many?
3.
Any?
Yeah, it says water animals.
Okay,
So I guess that's fish.
no problem. I can do that.
Sweet.
No. I accidentally started dancing again.
I'm surprised though. Ever since we got the quest for poop, we can't find poop. I usually find it everywhere on the ground.
Yeah,
Like,
no, it gets picked up and it was put into a chest. I grabbed it already.
yeah. Oh, that's fine. I was just looking for more since we might need it again, apparently. Because that's the first time I've ever seen us need it.
Right?
There's fur in this one? That's not the
Oh, I
animal one.
moved it. I was going through everything.
Oh, you moved the animal stuff up from the animal bin to the garden?
Yeah, because we were going through stuff and we had things in there, so.
Let's see, sort. Oh, man. Sort. And there we go. What other sort options are there? Sort by tag? By tag's probably the way to do it. Maybe. I don't know. Doesn't seem to matter.
Oh yeah, depending on the type, yeah. That might be what the tag is.
There's like oregano growing right next to the garden.
Hell yeah. What's this? I just popped. Oh.
Tomato. Green bean.
Alright, I got some. Yeah, lots of fish.
Beans are said to be a musical fruit. Love that. Did you read it? Musical fruit. Yeah.
That's close enough.
That's funny.
God, this tic-tac is being an asshole.
Ada is busy turning rot into new life.
Yep. I think she's gonna make fertilizer for us.
Oh, that's what she's doing with the poop. Yeah. He's making preserved foods and water. That's what he needs the fish for. So I guess he's making like canned sardines or something. I don't know.
Maybe.
Fish stew? Yo, if she gets handed out kisses. Let's see. I'll hand out a hug. Pokemon bot. Artist. Artist is getting all the love today.
I'm catching a bunch of fish, just so you know.
Wild go-goat. Yes, please, catch all the fish. Poke catch if you want a wild go-goat. I need it. Bot knows today is rough. Aw, I'm so sorry. You probably need some sleeps, girl. Sleeps are important, and I know you. You haven't been sleeping.
Okay.
I miss having purple hair. Huh?
I don't know where you're running to.
Why?
I don't know, I was just watching you run.
Yeah, I'm just going up the mountain. I hadn't been up here today. Or this game. Let's go and see if there's stuff to pick. And there is.
I'm just over here catching all the fish.
So, how is that I pick stuff and it disappears?
What do you mean?
Like, I picked like 3 bean plants, and I have no beans in my inventory.
Interesting. Oh, you might have gotten their seeds. So
maybe.
Pouch.
Maybe it wasn't fruit, just seeds then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when we harvest wild, like when we forage, it seems like it's just seeds.
Yeah, it used to give you fruit too. Go-Go has been caught. Yes. The only beans we need are you, Mono, your Mono. My beans? What? I'm a bean? I'm so confused.
Yeah, toe beans.
Toe beans? Ah. Cute, 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 cute. You leveled up, level 1. There you go. Picking all the mushrooms in the rain with a torch on the mountain. And I did not bring a ride because I'm silly like that. I should have totally brought a steed. But no. I decided this was a good idea. She's probably gonna wake up sick in the morning. Good thing that's not a thing in this game. My character would be so sick right now.
What can I try? Any meat, fish?
Alright, we're gonna head back because I can barely see anything with the rain in the dark. I managed to get 3 whole mushrooms. Let's see if I can remember how to fish too. I don't remember. You just stand here and fish, or what do you do?
You have to click, and then you have to hold over the fishy that you want to catch.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Probably should be going to bed though. Keep calm and follow the fish. Oh, I clicked it too soon. Yay! I caught a fish! Be proud of me.
Yay!
Oh man. He thought you were dirty. He had to give you a bath. Dirty, dirty. Gotta go. Till later, folks. Good night, Tank. Thank you for being here and liking.
My tank.
Okay, it's too dark to see anything. And I'm going to bed. It's raining. So we kind of have our own kitchens. This counter doesn't count as a kitchen. Oh yeah, I can make food on this
But
counter.
it's not a full kitchen, I don't think. I think that's what's happening.
Yeah, because it says I can prepare foods. Like certain dishes. And then I guess you prepare stuff over your fire too. Oh, weird. Cool. Yeah. Alright. Sleep. I don't know what time it is. It 2 a.m. here on this game too, I think.
Probably. Yeah. I guess I should run.
Then we pass out. My hair needs combed.
I might pass out. I hope not. Oh,
oh. Rain. Rain's gonna pass out. Is it break time yet?
Okay. Yeah, stretch break.
Yeah, I think it's stretch break time. Can I grab a snack or something? Should I have a like a margarita? Yeah.
Yes. Why would you even ask that?
Can you make me one too? Can I have one too, Brady, please?
artist. Well, damn, turtle. Okay. I didn't think you were, but alright.
I was like, what is going on? I just saw that. Welcome back. I changed into comfy clothes. Yes. You want the regular mango or watermelon? Both? And then I changed. We'll see.
No, that's not at all why.
Because you're full of typos and that crazy cat face. I got cashews and chocolate. Dark chocolate chips. I blame Turtle for the chocolate.
Ah.
Cat shoes, yeah. Cat shoes.
I don't know. Is this still, is it just flavor? Oh no, that's straight flavor. Okay.
You drinking straight flavor to see what flavor it is?
No.
Oh, okay.
Confirmed that it had flavor. It's not
Waity
very much
wing.
that I'm getting out of it.
I tried to comb my hair.
These little
It's still a mess.
In it. This little pouch. And it was still full. I'm like, wait, what?
Wouldn't surprise you if she did that. Oat cake?
I mean, it is an apple flavor, but ugh. It's strong.
Oat cake? Like as in a Pokemon cake? Are you baking a cake? Six is making a cake.
Oh, I think he means the catch. But yeah, probably.
Oh, catch? Maybe. Oh, you guys are spelling everything and on purpose now. Okay. Okay. So what kind of Starbucks did you bring me, Turtle? You know, like cake, and you poke holes in it, and then pour Jello mix on, and ice it with Cool Whip. I've seen those. Those are actually pretty good. Should say I've tasted one. Let's see.
The fish that you need is in the blue container next to the drying rack.
Okay. Fish and then blue container next to drying rack. Got it. Yeah.
I'm smoking some more that are better quality.
Wow, look at all the maters. Okay, so the watering thing does do a radius all the way around it. Which is kind of cool.
How big of a radius?
Bigger than Stardew. It does one ring all the way around, but still. I think Stardew was like 4 on the first level.
Yeah. So we just need 2 spaces between each one and it's fine. That's cool.
Yep. Is that your pet?
It is. Her name is Mama.
You got a pet
because
buffalo?
My mama's favorite animal is elephants, and this is the closest thing I can get to an elephant.
Pet elephant.
You see what I mean about your fucking thing with the milk. You may not have seen it. Your ibex just keeps producing milk randomly.
What?
Yeah.
And it's wanting us to harvest the milk, right? We don't have a harvest thingy?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Because I haven't made a harvest thingy yet.
I'm cleaning the pet pen, by the way. Oh, that's how you get the poop. If you clean there with the little pins.
Oh.
Little piles.
Hey, dude, get that. No. No, I don't want to talk to you. You like the new PFP? What is he asking?
Profile pic.
Oh, yeah. That's cool. How did you do that?
I assume it's just one of those Snapchat filters.
No, on Twitch. Raging Wolf Hell.
Oh, yeah, no, that's the, no, he's asking about the profile picture, not the, badge. The badge is, from an Elden Ring thing. Which is really cool.
So you get to pick your own badge now versus your stream badge?
You've always been able to do that. That's some bullshit, Turtle, and you know it.
I should make a Snapchat. Never made him. Wild Mari. I do. My brain is not working. I swear. It needs more ridges.
No ridges or lumps. Valleys or bumps. Just a smooth brain. That's all you got. Just a smooth brain. Everything slides right off.
Thank you, Turtle. Thank you for gifting a sub to artists. 83 subs to the channel. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Need some hype now. Hype, hype, hype. More lumps.
Oh, hold on. There's a much easier way of doing this.
I did talk to him now. Still researching. Drink a smoothing caramel tea and come back in 2 days. What if I don't want to? But yeah. Thank you, Turtle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Caramel tea puts me to sleep. Or I drink it to try to go to sleep. Yes, I know you want to be watered, but I don't have milked, but I don't have hardwood, so I can't. I don't think I can make the milking thing yet. You'll find out. Oh, I can. I just need flint. Need 10 flint so I can milk this dang animal. Pretty sure we don't have flint, so I'll have to go get that. Huh?
I guess I should water the rest of these crops.
Oh. Let's see. We just need to build more of those things.
Yeah. Which I guess we could, like...
I don't know where it went. I had to
We
turn
got
off my
stuff.
camera. I lost food.
Oh.
I had to shoot it. lost food and I had to find it. Rain got a witness because I forgot to turn off that camera,
I didn't even look.
but I turned off this dream camera for a minute on purpose. I was eating cashews and lost one.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
How dare you lose them?
Note to self, pick up one at a time.
No.
Yeah, sometimes you have to turn your camera off for a second for things. Usually it's when I'm blowing my nose. Oh wow, look at this boar. Look at his pattern.
Oh, he's so pretty.
He's cool. Look. Oh, yeah, he's cool looking. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
She did something we shouldn't see. Yes, I did some snacksidents happen. Yes, they do. Snacksidents do happen. Ooh, what is that? Cranberry? Rosehip? Rosehip?
Ooh.
Did we have rosehip before? I think my ibex is very, excuse me, uncomfortable. See, what do these do? The whistle things. Oh, to blow your, they do have the whistle things to blow, to call your mounts. That's what those horns are all over the place. So. And then I'm gonna go in here. Mono overboard! Yo. Things happen. Things and stuff. I don't think any of these have what I'm looking for. I think they look particular. Don't they look a certain way if they have flint in them?
No, actually.
They don't? Because I have found 0 flint so far. And I need 10. I thought they used to be like a darker colored rock or something.
I know, I have no idea.
Oh, that's right. We were making offerings and stuff to the turtles before.
Wait, what? Oh yeah, the little turtles. I forgot about our little turtles that we keep offering things to.
Dance?
Oh yeah, yeah, you can dance.
Maybe flint is only available on certain days now? Like, where's the flint? I have 0 flint so far. They changed stuff. Joffrey! Welcome to the stream! I hope you're doing awesome. Happy Sunday. 0 flints acquired? Yes. I needed 10. I came to the mountains to get 10 and I have 0. I feel like this was the wrong day to come or something. Maybe they're only available on certain days now. Happy Sunday, my friend. Yes. Hope you had a relaxing day. Well, if anything, I've gotten plenty of stone. I've managed to get almost 200 stone while I'm in here.
Nice.
It's probably considering part of the collection I already had, but still.
So you just get hardwood from random trees.
Okay. So that's new.
I was chopping a couple trees in our little village.
Because you need 20 hardwood to get the bigger watering bucket thingamajig.
4 so far.
But I think, you know, like each person has to do it or whatever.
Maybe.
So I think I can leave through the waterfall now. That was the trick, right? Yes. Go behind the waterfall to come back to the village faster.
Yeah, it looks like the trees that we chopped down, depending on the ones. Okay, so the brown trees give you hardwood, white ones just give you regular wood. Interesting.
Alright, where's my place to sleep? Can I sleep here? Yes. No. Go to sleep. Can I not sleep in this bed? It must not be my house.
Nope.
Dang it.
No, that's Momo's.
And I like Stardew that you can sleep in anybody's house.
No. Well, now we have 124 hardwood.
Wow. Okay.
I only had 26. That's what I got.
It only takes 20 to get the water bucket versus squeezy thing.
Woo! Look at me. Doing all the things. While you go adventure.
Making all the money. I was looking for flint. That was dumb.
Yummy. Oh, Ada's finished. You want to go discover what her research has done?
We have all the things to harvest.
Oops. Not what I want to do.
At least it waters the ring.
See, you can't pick up some.
Yeah, my inventory is kind of full. Donate a little bit. Not the stuff that is brand new, but I haven't really been donating, so I will this time. Just not the rose hip.
I've been cooking a lot of fish and stuff.
Just the rose hip. Okay, and is Ada in here? Oh no, she's probably won over. Nope. He's in here somewhere.
Ada's in there.
No? Where are you at? Discovered that if we let certain materials rot, then mix them with freshly tilled soil, you get different effects. We call it compost. So we made compost out of poop and dirt.
Sweet. I love compost.
Snappy! Welcome to the stream. You broke your streak last stream? No! You gotta start over. It's okay.
I haven't lost my streak yet.
Only 3?
I refuse.
A wild mudslide up here. I don't know if I have it or not.
Mudsdale?
Yeah, mudslide. You know we're doing wrong words. I swear I'm losing my nuts here. I don't know where it went.
It's fine. You can save it for later.
There, I found it. We won't talk about it.
Yeah, it's just a snack for later.
Compost.
Oh, yay!
So we got a compost bin thingy-majiggy to put poop in.
And I just got an achievement.
Mm-hmm.
Or we got an achievement.
Mm-hmm. Mono is the
I really
snack,
should
though.
do more of this on my own.
Thank you, artist. You had a big one for a while? I believe it. You were here like every time. I don't even know how Rain got to her number.
Yeah, I'm at 57.
I don't even remember streaming 57 times.
I mean, since they started it.
Need snacks when you go Mono.
I've watched 57 streams.
Artist that is very fair. School is important. I know you need a milk thingamajiggy, but I'm pretty sure we have no flint on the farm. I will check again. I'm pretty sure this is just all herbs and stuff in these things.
There's 35 flint in this black chest.
There is? Oops. I was wrong. I'm so sorry, Animal. You've been suffering. It's all my fault. Okay, I'm putting the poop thing up here and near the garden too.
Oh, okay.
Alright, black chest. Flint. I'll just grab it and put back what I don't use. We will go get a thing so I can milk you, because I feel bad. You're like miserable because I'm not taking care of my ride, apparently. Oh, here's some tomatoes.
Tomato seeds.
Tomato seeds. Yeah, is our seed inventory shared now? I forget.
I think so.
Why am I lost?
I don't know. Why are you lost?
I'm lost. Ooh, what are the red things? Can I pick those up? No. No, KimonoBot. We need a mono body pillow. I mean, I finally achieved the mono hat for those that wear hats, but there we go. Craft idea. Okay, there's the milk thing. Craft, yes. So she can do it in one day, it looks like. So you get relief in one day. I know. I just can't believe this poor animal is just yelling at me. Milk me, please. That's what I keep saying. I'm gonna be careful saying that. That's the animal. It's my animal, my pet. My pet needs milked.
Also,
There's also
keep refilling the little basin thing.
There's also a sheep shearing thing. What's going on? My ibex is miserable and needs milked, so I'm creating a tool. That's what's going on here. Nothing else.
Maybe I should go to the beach and catch some fish. I haven't really left the village.
Turtle needs milk. Oh my god. He would. Okay, I remember when you were lucky to find oregano because it wasn't spawning, but every so many saves, game saves.
Right.
And now I find it everywhere.
Really?
Mm-hmm. I've picked up like 5 things of oregano since we've been playing.
Okay.
You don't have any, sadly? Sad. I have a hard time finding oregano too, it's crazy. Do you play this game, Sticks?
No, I think he's talking about a different kind of oregano.
Oh my god. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't think I've found that in this game yet.
I don't think we have.
They have said some suggestive language, though. What was it they said at the start? Oh, happy accidents, yeah. Happy accidents in the kitchen, apparently. I was like, do what?
Yeah, it's just a Bob Ross in the kitchen.
I finally ate today. Be proud of me. I am glad. You need to eat every day.
Should eat multiple times a day.
Right?
What did I catch? Ooh.
I found parsley. What is growing on this tree? If I chop down the tree, do I get whatever's growing on it?
I don't know, maybe.
Is this tree choppable? Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're chopping it. It just takes some time.
No, it's just a piece of grass on the ground behind the tree that I couldn't get.
It's fine.
You never know. And then... Nope.
I just pet your rabbit for you, by the way.
Was running around, Little Six was running around yesterday saying sacrifices happen? Oh my god.
I love it. Can I have your child?
I lost my
I would like
appetite
to
every
steal your
time I
child
tried
there.
earlier. Oh, that's not good. It sounds like you were sick or fighting off something. Hey, buddy. I didn't mean to talk. No, I didn't want to sing to you, but okay.
It's fine. You sing to him. Sing to the foxy. Be friends. I know it's not a fox, but
The wolf.
yeah, that thing.
The wolf wanted me to sing to it.
Foxy.
Yeah. It's already dark. I didn't even make it to the cave.
Fine.
I was trying to make it to the cave
I used all my energy.
to go look for flint again, even though I got some. I feel like I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't exist. I know why. Uh-oh. Too stressed? Usually it's not a good reason. I've missed y'all so much. Oh, we miss you too, Six. Oh, damn you. Okay. The bot is new, yes. So apparently I must need to do something different to find Flint now. Maybe you have to go like even deeper into the cave or unlock the turtle thing at a different level or something weird or
Maybe.
because it's not just easily obtainable anymore.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how to obtain it.
It used to just be like very first room had Flint. It's alright. I wish I could take you to the other side with me. Maybe I can.
Oh, okay. So look for rocks with white-gray specks on them as you get closer to Owl's totem.
Okay. White gray specks. But I did like every rock last time.
This was as of actually shortly before, so like shortly before we stopped playing.
Here's my house.
It is new, Ernest.
It does other things. It does the 8-ball thing too. Or no, that's a different one. An 8-ball is. Never mind. That's a different one, but ask later. Okay. Well, I sleep later tonight. Ask later. Sounds about right.
Rude. It only answered you.
You just copy and paste your sentence and do it again. I'm sure it's because we both had hit it at the same time. Ask again later. I'm not winning. Or sleeping, apparently.
It's fine. Sleepmaker's been detected nearby. That's cool because I don't see any. It's not raining either.
It was today when I realized you can call your animal to your house to come get you. Let's see. Does one of these have mushrooms and not the other? Aha.
Yeah.
Oh, they both have parsley and oregano. That's an issue.
Oh. Wait, did you? Oh. Then you could probably move the parsley and oregano over into the other one.
Oregano. Parsley. I'll just assume the lavender's over there too. I'm probably moving them from the wrong one. That's okay.
Yeah, you're moving them from the wrong one. I was trying to keep all the like quality stuff together.
I messed it up.
That one. Oh my god. I'll fix it.
I'm running away. Where is she at? The lady that makes the tools.
I don't know actually.
She has my stuff. It says, A-Ball, will Mono get banned from going to Duncan's? Consult your inner cat. It's possible, you never know. I haven't been going there as much, though. You'd be proud of me. I've only gone there, like, 2 times this past, I don't know, 60 days.
I'm still mad about the refresher cup. I really want it.
Maybe 3. Mm-hmm.
A really pretty purple refresher cup. And Jeff didn't send it to me. He just sent me a picture.
I need to go see if our other one has it. I don't know.
My tomato knowledge has increased.
Level 3.
We do grow a lot of tomatoes.
Mm-hmm. You're a level 3 tomato gardener now.
Yeah. You just left me to water everything.
I just find all the seeds for you.
Well, that's fair. You leave me to do all the stuff in the village while you go adventure.
Yo. I'm determined to figure this flint thing out.
Look at them potato seeds. Actually, they only popped up for me. Or, oh wait, no. Okay, never mind. There's
Quinoa.
quinoa seeds. I bet they only.
Now, rosehip it actually collects.
Yeah. That's because those are their own separate thing.
Said speckles on them?
Yep. Light gray speckles, and they're closer to the owl totem.
Hmm. How do I get past this point? I don't remember.
Oh, I don't remember now. I think the owl totem's somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't
I think
know
so
where.
too. How did I get past this stuff?
You want to
Like
talk
so.
to Knock? He finished fermenting food.
Okay.
Or do you want me to?
You can do it, because I can't just run there right now.
That's fair.
I'm thinking we have to unlock more of the cave again or something.
Maybe. He's called it a fermenter. Interesting.
Oh, we're supposed to be dropping things off here based on this mural. And the mural said, I guess, pine cone, tomato, pomegranate, coconut.
Oh, well, I have a pomegranate.
I think it's the coconut we don't have. Pomegranate, tomato. I think it looks like the pine cone's already there. But yeah, none of these rocks have speckles.
Interesting.
Oh, I gotta go find that lady so I can milk my poor ibex, however you say it.
Oh, yeah.
She was not at her house earlier. There she is.
Okay, so this is really nice. I like that a lot, actually.
Okay. Finally, milked my poor baby. Ibex milk. Jeez. Compost. Harvest. Any poop. Oh, you get different things back. Cool. It's basically, yeah, different qualities of fertilizer and stuff. Powder meal. You can use bones, shells, mushrooms, horse manure. Any poop. Horns. So.
I need you to move.
Me?
To the left. Yes.
Oh. Nothing matches. Damn. Okay.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to do.
How are you gonna be able to get to them? I guess you can walk in between them. Okay.
Yeah, it lets you walk in between.
That's cool. Can you walk in between?
Oh, you
this
probably
one?
need some poop, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can go put poop
I
in
got
there.
it. I got the poop.
Make it work. I think a shell and poop works.
Oh. Oh. Hold on. A shell. Bones and a shell. And any horse manure. We have bones. Let's go. Let's find out what it is.
And then...
There it is. Let's
see,
go.
do we have animal manure? We have bones. Sometimes I see like piles of stuff in the barn and I thought maybe that was manure.
No, but that's how you get the poop.
Oh, you pick up the green piles?
Well, you have to clean them up, but yeah.
I didn't realize that's what those were when I saw them till now. I
think I'm gonna make some sour cream. Maybe.
There's There's another animal horn. Get over there! Oh, it's two different qualities. Never mind.
Ibex milk sour cream. Fermenting. If you ferment milk. Depending
Ooh.
on the milk.
And where's the fermenter?
It's up top. Yeah.
Oh, that's the thing we use to make pizza dough. Ooh.
I wonder.
So I just drop it in there. How do I just...
You have to have the thing in your hand to do the flour.
In your what?
In your hand when you.
Oh, because you gotta mix it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna take a few hours for it to ferment. I already got it.
How do you drop stuff in here?
I already have it in there. You can only do it once.
No, I'm talking about the milk.
That one only does one time. Yeah, it only does it one time. So it's got a couple hours for that one to go.
Oh, you already milked my creature?
No, there was just milk hanging out.
Oh. Yeah. I didn't know. I was taking my milk over there to figure it out.
Sorry.
You were like, hey, do this. And I'm like, okay. So you had Ibex milk already?
Yeah, I don't know how we ended up with it, but yeah.
Maybe Momo was milking hers.
Maybe. I need to change the color of this.
Da, da, da. Fiber.
Hey, and you can actually name your chest.
Can we make more lights on the farm? Because it's dark. Oh, it's really late too. We should sleep. It's like, it's dark. I don't want to sleep. But it's like, oh crap. It's like 1 a.m. No wonder the screen's so dark.
Oh. Sour cream's done too. I'll take it and
I'm gonna pass out.
I know. I'm not gonna donate it today. I'm do this. Yay! Look at us. We got river safety.
Mm-hmm. Wonder what that is.
I don't know.
Those are cute. They're banana cats? Oh my gosh. Cute. Banana cat raid.
A banana raid.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever sit and watch those little clips? They're like 2-minute clips of the bananas.
Yeah, I like watched it and went, I've lost brain cells watching this.
Yeah.
I was like, this is for like a 3-year-old. Oh, it's a new season.
It is.
We lost some crops.
We did, and I'm okay with that because now we can kind of reorganize our.
Yeah, we need to figure out how to make more of those watering things so we can. Mark wants to experiment in the kitchen and needs your help. Nook. Is it Noki? Nook?
I call him Knock.
Knock? Maybe? Wants to make sure the kids can't fall in the deeper parts of the river.
Oh.
That's what the safety thing is. Don't let them in the river.
They're kids.
Look at you guys. Now we have penguins and banana cats. Oh, so I need a pomegranate. And I need... Do we have any pomegranates? Or did you take them all?
No, it's a tree fruit. I think I actually ended up drying it.
And we don't have any coconuts. And I don't see any tomatoes. Did you steal all the tomatoes?
Probably, but there's some to harvest down here.
Okay, because I need tomatoes. I'm gonna put the wild one in here and hope it's not the wild one I need, so if it is, I'll come back for it.
You can taste the good quality.
I did, but I kept the wild one in there just in case it's the one I actually need, because it doesn't specify which tomato. Oh, there's high quality fertilizer if you want some. Banana penguins! You have banana penguins? Oh my gosh. Nice. And then I got a trubbish. Hope catch trubbish. Alright. I feel like I don't think coconuts were in the Sahara, but I remember them being somewhere.
I'm pretty sure they're on the beach.
Yeah, somehow I went the wrong way.
Beach is south.
I'm exploring the deserting. I'm dying, apparently. There's tons of lavender here.
Is there? Oh.
Lavender, milk thistle, those are all in the desert. That's a big buffalo. He was ginormous.
Oh, that's a mammoth.
Mammoth thing, yes. He's ginormous. Not ready to harvest. Okay, okay. Garbanzo beans.
Garbanzo beans.
Found garbanzo
Yay.
beans. There's a horn. I'll leave that because we get them on our own. This is...
I'm destroying our farm.
These footprints look like one of Oka's places traps here. What? It's a trap, literally. Open a journal to learn more. I'm scared. Oka thinks we could use traps in the savannah.
I see.
So she's like setting traps for things, animals. Yeah, so be careful where you walk, apparently. Ooh, is that sunflowers? Sunflowers! I forgot we're in a new season. That's why there's new stuff.
Make
Ooh,
Ada proud. Discover
feather.
plants. Aw.
Found a feather. Lots more oregano. Lana told me I look like Trubbish. I did not.
You do.
You don't look like Trubbish. Don't.
I don't even know what turtle looks like.
I know. It's like,
So for all we know, he could.
I know what he looks like.
I know, because you're special.
Special. Or something.
These cookies with them.
Let's see. What are these? Ooh. Amaranth.
Amaranth.
Yeah. And now...
Oh my god. That was a lot of work.
I was gonna say, is my storage full yet? can't pick up the bones. I tried picking up the bones.
I think they're just decoration.
I know, but I know you needed bones for something. Oh yeah, there's another trap.
We have a couple.
We still need to talk about to Oka about the traps. I know. Oh, there's tons of poop. Rain will be happy.
Poop.
I found lots of poop for you, Rain.
Yay! Here, I'll talk to Akka about the traps because she's right here. Okay, look, we got trap instructions now.
We got a what?
Trap instructions.
On how to build our own, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
We need to craft a trap to place in this spot. Okay, so there's certain spots you have to place them.
Okay, so powder meal is a fertilizer.
Almonds. What do we want to get rid of? Not the tomato. I guess that's...
You can probably toss those herbs. Just don't toss the lavender because I don't think we have any.
We do have some, but I'll toss the burdock root. Oh, I can eat it. I don't need to eat it, but I can eat it.
It's a medicine.
There we go. I ate it for no reason. Can I feed it to the animal? No, I don't want to tune! Apparently I'm singing to the animals again. I just love all the animals. I want to play music for them.
No, that's fair. It's a llama.
Uh-huh. I messed it all up, but it's because I wasn't trying. I was like... Okay, open. How do I get rid of the burdock root other than eating it?
I think if you hit I for inventory, you might be able to empty it out.
Nope. Dang animals. Apparently we're getting one of these alpaca llama things. His name I can't say.
So what's really nice about our seeds is it actually tells you with the little, there's a little icon by each one that you can
drop. There, I picked up the almonds instead. And then what is that? Oh, more burdock root. Ants. Da, 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 da. I can chop this thing down. Oh, it takes a stronger axe for that tree. Not your normal axe.
I haven't used
any of my energy. Excuse me.
Gross.
Yep.
Hi. I need to use my energy. I'm just gonna finish chopping down some of these trees.
Put the poop next to the sour cream. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but...
Fine.
that's not where that goes, apparently. There we go. We had 10 of those and 19 lavenders. If I remember right, the flowers aren't good for anything. Help heal colds. Wait. It's just medicinal, but I don't know. We haven't run into a reason to need them yet.
Yeah. That's why I have it labeled for medicine and herbs.
Yeah.
And of course, I have the high quality stuff in there right now, too. But...
Interesting. Artist 3? What? Smiles. Did you just like uproot everything and destroy everything?
Yes.
Even though it was some of it was good?
Yeah. That's driving me insane. Okay. It was all over the place.
She destroyed all our crops. What if I need more tomatoes? We're in trouble.
We just have to wait 10 days for them.
10 days? Holy cow. Come on, buddy. Thank you. Alright. Would you like to return your mount home? It will go back to the shed. Yes, go back to the shed. It's time for sleeps. Burp, blip, smooth brain. I was rating your burp. Oh no. Did I burp or was it rain? Maybe I did.
It was your sneeze.
Oh. My chew. Achoo.
I definitely did not burp. I don't think I burped.
Yeah, sneeze. It was a 3. Sun-dried tomato. There's all the tomatoes.
Look, I had to.
Tell you.
I can only do 4 at a time on each thing.
Oh, seen. I was starting to think you wouldn't find us. It's that new people. You know me. I'm bound to wander the right way eventually. And who might these fine folks be? This is my family, my partner, Laurie, of the Jamotan clan, and our daughter, Hera. It will be good to have you here. You can stay with me in the Pachan hearth. How long are you visiting? About that. Would it be alright if my family joined the clan? The earthquake. Of course. You're a Pachan. Zilk, your family is ours too. Thank you. So we get new people.
Yeah.
I should let you get settled in. But you want to know if I brought any salt? You know me so well. Of course, I made sure to get some extra for you and Tare. Salt? What? Excellent. They brought salt, so they could join our clan. Yes, Sneasel. No thoughts. New smoke signals. What do they have to say? Idea. Zeke is discussing an idea with Rain. Oh, never mind. Who knows?
It is.
Do you think it was alright with my family? Is still living with Yok and Ida? I hope so.
Ada has an idea.
Zick thinks he can get more salt. Ada wants you to experiment with growing herbs and mushrooms. She needs fur and wood. I have wood. I just gotta go grab the fur. There. We had some next to our animals, but I think somebody moved it. Yeah, there's no fur in there now.
Yeah, that's in the miscellaneous box.
Da-da-da. Fur. Check. And now I can go down here and see. And where did they go? Why does she do that? She runs away. I swear.
She hates us.
Right? Now I don't even see her on the map. There. Where are you at? It's like... to the left. No, that's his... what's his name?
Guess I can go fishing.
Wild?
Fish.
Oh, we missed a Pokemon.
That's fine. Yeah, it looks like there's just rocks along the edge of the deeper parts of the river. You can still fish those.
Wood, mushrooms, herb.
Oh, I guess I could go buy seeds from our grandfather, huh? Yeah, I'll go do that. Grandpa, we need seeds.
He needs to. It was him. Okay. Ada
Fire,
needs
Grandpa.
hardwood, mushrooms, and an herb. And Noak needs the stuff I have.
I'm buying all the seeds.
32 seeds. 8 seeds.
We have enough to do it, so.
Roll.
That way we can.
Oh, where the heck is him? Noak. Okay. Look like by the fire. People are playing hard to find.
That's not anything new.
Ooh, I thought they were here, but they are here somewhere. Ah. I brought a fur. Oh, it has to be 5 of them. Never mind. I only have 1 fur.
We should have more than that.
I got one and you got one, and then other than that, I don't remember us getting any because we haven't got shears and an animal to defur yet. Yeah. To get a shear, I need flint. Okay. Go back and get some flint. We still have any. And then wood.
Don't worry, I'm planting.
I see that.
I don't know if I can water it all.
No, no. What, you leaving spots for those things and figuring out how to make them?
Nope. It's okay. I'll figure out how to do it later. I can deal with sacrificing one plant. We have to.
Yeah, I'm just gonna put the fur back until we get enough fur. So that was the savannah, right? Yeah. Don't have a mount to call? What? What does that mean?
What happened to your ibex?
I don't know. Where is my ibex? I didn't accidentally release it or something, did I?
I think you did.
I wouldn't have did that. There it is. No? No, just a different ride, but I don't know where my ibex is.
No.
I'm sad. Do they disappear when they're like gonna go have babies or something?
I don't think so.
I'm just petting all the doggos, by the way.
I'll pet all the animals.
Get the shells, 'cause we need those for different things. I'm actually looking for a coconut. But we'll pick up the shells and the herbs while we're here. The kale seeds.
Don't worry, I'll just plant them one at a time.
Ooh, I got another cave.
Ooh.
I bet this one has my flint. Maybe. I had brown stones, but nothing came out of them. There are stones too strong for me to break. Interesting. So maybe I have to upgrade my tool again in order to be able to break certain stones. Interesting.
Making some olive oil.
A new achievement is ready to be sculpted. Open. Pyramid achievement. The jungle pyramid. Go to the pyramid. Oh! I can do it.
So I just made almond milk, and I just put the almond milk into the fermenter. And we'll get
Cool.
sour cream out of almond milk.
Nice.
And it takes less time than, Can we do oil? No, we can't. Okay. I did just make some olive oil, though. I just wanted to see what would happen. And that's what happened.
Nice. There was no coconuts at the beach.
I wonder if I can do this. No. Dang, I wish we could use the herbs in the mortar and pestle. Nice.
Oh, coconuts. I wonder if they're only a certain season.
Oh, yeah, maybe.
Citronella. Whole area down here you can make a garden now too.
We could be vegetarians or vegans.
Really?
Yeah, because the legumes, you just make plant meat. So it's just plant-based meat. So if we choose not to kill our animals, we could just be vegan.
I can't see nothing in the jungle this time of night.
You should really be heading home.
I know. I'm just excited to see what this thing was, but I don't know if they'll let me do it right now. Anyway.
What was
Close. Food for next
Oh.
year. Prophecies realized. To protect the spirits. Farming knowledge. Oh, does it just show you what your upgrades are? You don't actually have to...
Maybe? Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you don't actually have to do anything?
Oh, wait. If you go, like... What
Or
about
maybe
if
it
you
just...
look at another one? Oh, okay. So it does kind of tell you
Assign.
different things. Oh.
Weird.
What does that say?
Oh.
Look at you.
Cool. Roach the Gatherer. Oh, you can give yourself a certain thing.
Oh.
Oh.
You are a gatherer.
Yeah, I'm definitely a gatherer, so that works for me. I guess you earn a new title or something based on what you do. Now if I can get out of here. I'm probably gonna pass
Hey, that
out.
looks like an almond tree.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna pass out because I can't get out of here.
You got
Hope I'm
stuck with
safe.
pineapples.
Turtle, what is that? Angry? What is that? An angry what? I don't even know what it is. It's an angry something.
It looks like a dog. Like a small dog.
Open the journal to learn more. Uh-oh. So we have to... So we do need the medicinal herbs to do stuff. An animal has fallen ill, and Anna knows how to help. Good thing we saved our herbs. Blade shears finished. Yay! I can go get my shears. I swear the dog was sleeping in my house. It let me pet it! I got to pet the dog!
Ooh. Plant.
Willow bark, medicine. Lost ingredients grow around here. Check the medicine box. She said to check the medicine box. We need hardwood.
To water the plants this time.
Herbs. Where is the crafty lady at? I need my stuff. I don't know where she goes first thing in the mornings, but she's never outside her house. Pineapple seed. Where'd you get that at?
I've seen the jungle. I just happened to see the...
When I was in there trying to get them, but it was dark.
Yeah.
It was too dark. I want to know what happened to my eye bags. I'm not happy.
I don't know.
Inventory full. There it is. Seems to have fleas. No.
Oh, I have a thing for fleas.
I was wondering where it went. It ran away and got fleas, and now it's back. Where the hell did you go?
Interesting. I have a thing for fleas.
Heal. How do you do the flea thing? My baby's got fleas. It ran away and it came back with fleas. Oh, good news is we got an animal we can shear.
Lavender. Wait. Yeah, lavender. And then citronella also works. So let me see. I'll go see if I can.
Okay.
I'll fix your ibex for you.
That's just like wool or something. It's not even fur, is it?
Fur. It's fur.
Oh, good. So I just need 5 of those. But at least we can shear them now.
Yes, I know. Heal. Wait.
I can't shear Rain's mount.
No.
No, I just want to shear it. Come
I
back!
just do the thing. Can't. How did she say that we could do the thing? Where
I
is
don't think
Eva?
she really said.
I'm gonna go look at her medicine cabinet.
I didn't even know she had a medicine cabinet.
I didn't either. Oh! Wait. you talk to her, she can give you stuff. Rosemary's good too, but
let's see. That's citronella, so I'm gonna put that over here with these herbs.
Do that though.
That poor baby. A lot of kitty boops. Boop.
Any oil. Okay, I have some olive oil. That's what it is.
Oh. So you suffocate with fleas.
So you need oil and either lavender or citronella, or maybe both.
So I'm thinking your animal gets fleas if you leave it somewhere and don't send it home. And then it forgets how to get home. And then you're missing it. I'm thinking that's what happens. So you have to make sure you send your animal home.
I'm gonna go.
I gotta do a thing real quick and then I'll come back and finish ordering.
I have the medicine for your right.
Okay. Let's see.
Where'd it go? Where'd it go? There it is.
Yay!
Yay! Now I fixed it.
Yay! No longer sick. Will be ready to shear in about 6 days. So you can shear them about every 6 days. Hype, hype, hype. Thank you for the hype, 6. Dingo, dingo, dingo. So I keep sharing all the animals that I can share. Oh, come on. There. That's the wrong thing. How did it not? I filled it up with water, I swear. And then I got down there and it was empty. So I had to go back and try again.
I've done that.
Look at the bird.
Hey.
I think that's like Momo's pet, isn't it? Lives with Momo. Yeah, Yuki.
Oh, yeah.
Yuki lives with Momo.
Yuki is. Yeah.
But I keep petting Yuki. Yuki lets me pet it now.
Yeah. Alright, so I'm going to...
7 days. Okay. I don't know where my ibex ran off to and got fleas at, but...
I don't know.
Pretty messed up.
I make us, then we'll have oils for our healing stuff. Especially if our animals have a habit of going and getting fleas. Freaking meh.
Apparently that's the thing now. Okay, so that is where that is. Is it getting dark already? It's where the days feel short. No. I don't want rain to mount. I swear, every time I pick up a flower, there's another flower.
Nope, that's I'm just over here cooking. Well, it's making things.
Go to sleep, Ibex, before you, like, get fleas again. Gonna return you to your barn.
I left it out in the wild somewhere.
I'm guessing. That's the only thing I can figure is they got left behind, and you know, like, you used to just leaving your animals behind and let them return home on their own, but it didn't return home.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, little butt. Run away.
That's Rain's house. What are these growing around?
They were eggplants.
Oh. Like,
I haven't planted the
interesting
seeds yet, but I had grabbed the seeds.
Get more salt if he gives fish. Wood. That's what I need the fur for, okay. Which I think I have a couple furs now somewhere. Yeah, get furs. Put the hardwood back. I need the regular wood. Fiber goes in there. Don't need to carry stone. I don't think I need. Well, I'll grab it just in case I need it. Where's the thing? It's time to sleep. Go to sleep. I think you can go to sleep here. Take the torch to bed. Yes. TP time. Do 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 do.
Well, Puddles gained half a pound.
Puddles! Puddles getting tanky.
Yes. Last time he sat on the scale, he was 14.2, and now he's 14.6.
Puddles getting tanky. What, Myrtle? What?
Shit, it's 10:30 here.
It's about bedtime, isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to be done?
Dalton's yeah.
Okay,
Dalton's
we can be done.
bed, so.
Yeah, we can be be done because I probably need to at least pretend to sleep, We know sleeping is not going to happen though. Because I'm terrible. But let's see. I hope you guys enjoyed watching Roots of Pacha. Thank you for being here. And I hope you had a relaxing Sunday. And why is I'm shaking my whole screen here? But I hope you have a good Monday. And it's not too wild and crazy and all that stuff. So I wish you all a wonderful evening and a good night. So, Rain, you want to tell everybody good night?
Good night, friends.
Yeah, good night. Get to sleep well. Bye. Catch you next time. 4 more hours. No.